from the station taking action for you. This is ABC Action News.
We come on the air this morning with breaking news out of Tallahassee. 3 people hurt during a shooting on the campus at Florida State University, and police just confirming the gunman who opened fire at a campus library is dead. I want to get right now to Adam Weiner live in the Satellite Center with the breaking details. Good morning, Adam.
Good morning, Dan. That's right. Police now saying that the Florida State campus is finally safe and secure, but it has been a night of terror.
There has been a shooting in the library. Stay where you are. We'll be coming to each floor, clearing, and taking care of anybody.
That video purportedly taken this morning from inside the FSU library as students huddled in fear. Right now, we know 3 people are hospitalized for gunshot wounds. Officers say they encountered the gunman outside the Strozier Library. They apparently told him to drop his weapon, but instead officers say the man shot at them. So officers returned fire, killing the gunman. But before police could stop that gunman, witnesses described 3 people being shot at the front desk of the library. The library was packed with students at the time, say school officials who made that announcement during the crisis.
If anybody has a victim, if anybody has been shot, call 911 on your cell phones. If you have not been shot or you do not know if somebody was armed, do not call 911.
Again, 3 people rushed to the hospital this morning. 1, we are told, in critical condition at Tallahassee Memorial Hospital. The identity of the gunman and the victims has not yet been made public or confirmed. You, of course, will get that as soon as we learn more. Live in the microwave room, I'm Adam Weiner. Back to you.
Thank you, Adam. So scary. And we are taking action for you with complete coverage of this major breaking news story. We do want to let you know our Ashley Yore is on her way to Tallahassee as we speak. We'll keep updating you throughout the morning, but if you're just heading out the door, you can get updates on the go on our mobile app and also on abcactionnews.com.
ABC Action News.
I had never feared for my life ever in my whole life, but at that point I was like, something might happen.
Terror on the campus of FSU. A gunman opens fire inside the library. Students forced to run for cover and barricade themselves as that man stormed the library. Witnesses say they heard about a half-dozen shots. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dan Schaefer.
And good afternoon. I'm Dia Riley. Here is the very latest at this noon hour on that campus shooting at Florida State University. A breaking development right now as we come on the air. The Associated Press is now reporting the shooter is Myron May, an FSU graduate and attorney. A woman named Abigail Taunton told the AP that May had recently been staying at a guest house she owns and that police interviewed her husband after the shooting.
The shooting happened just after 12:30 this morning. 3 students were shot. We've learned one of them, injured, is in critical condition. A second listed as good. The third was treated at the scene. We have team coverage right now of that shooting. Ashley Yore is on campus at FSU, and Adam Weiner is here in Tampa tracking how social media played a huge role in alerting both students and parents. We'll start with Ashley Yore, who has been on campus all morning. And Ashley, what is the mood like out there right now?
Well, Dan, things are a little bit calmer out here on campus this morning, but I want to show you this building that you're looking at. The shooting actually happened around the corner in the front of that library right there, and students I spoke to tell me there were moments where it was just chaos inside. Studying on the 2nd floor, Daniel Morales never imagined a night like this.
I was scared for my life, and I was scared that it ends like here in my freshman year of college.
Daniel heard the first shots fired after midnight, but didn't know what they were and didn't think much of it. That changed quickly.
This man came running. He's like, someone's got a gun. And I was like, oh, this guy's drunk. And then my reality was like checked in really fast when I see a group of like 10 or more people just screaming and running, terror in their eyes. And at that point, I was like, holy crap, this isn't a joke.
These are the library steps where FSU police killed the shooter after they say he refused to drop his gun and fired at them. Daniel heard that too.
It was just rapid fire. And a few minutes after that, they say that they have the man in custody, but by custody, that meant that he had been shot.
Daniel took cover with other students, barricading themselves behind tables, scrambling for safety.
At first, it was panic, but then it was just a lot of people sitting and either talking on the phone or crying or praying.
He sent voice messages, not knowing if they'd be his last.
I messaged my mom and my girlfriend, and I was like, I love you guys.
So glad he's okay today. Well, coming up at 12:30, I want to share another story with you of a student who was around the corner from the shooting right when it happened. I'll show you video that she took while she was inside. For now, reporting live from Tallahassee, I'm Ashley Orr, ABC Action News.
A lot of those texts went out from students to parents last night. Amazing. All right, more on that in a moment. But first, just minutes ago, Governor Rick Scott and FSU President John Thrasher addressing the shooting.
Both commending police and also first responders, and they're urging prayers for the victims and their families and also the FSU college community as a whole.
I'm asking everyone on FSU's campus and everyone across our great state and even the nation to pray for FSU.
Governor Scott says the campus police's response time was almost immediate, and they did a great job to prevent any further tragedy.
Now, before authorities even had a handle on this situation, social media played a big role in how information got out about the shooting.
Adam Weiner is monitoring some of the more gripping images. He joins us live now from the Satellite Center. Adam?
And social media is really still providing us some of the best insight into exactly what students were experiencing inside that library, especially at the time of the shooting.
There has been a shooting in the library. Stay where you are. We'll be coming to each floor, clearing, and taking care of anybody.
Cell phone video reportedly taken from inside the Strozier Library this morning shows students huddled in fear, waiting for direction.
If anybody has a victim, if anybody has been shot, call 911 on your cell phones. If you have not been shot, or you do not know if somebody was armed, do not call 911.
Heavily armed officers and makeshift barricades among the images shared by frightened students from inside the library.
We heard 2 shots, but while we were being moved up the stairwells, we, while on the 3rd floor, heard from outside about 5 or 6 rifle shots go off, rapid fire.
And these incredible images shared online by an FSU student showing his backpack and the bullet he says that went through it. Jason Durfus says online he was just feet from the shooter, but only later did he realize just how close he came to being among the victims. I learned this about 3 hours after it happened, says Durfus online. I never thought to check my bag. I assumed I wasn't a target. I assumed I was fine. The truth is I was almost killed tonight, and God intervened. And perhaps most powerful of all, this text message from publisher David Sillick's daughter is being shared all over the internet. There's a man with a gun in the library. I love you. I spoke with publisher David Sillick this morning, as well as several other parents who have kids who attend FSU, many saying they relied on Twitter and social media to find out what was going on well before authorities had a true handle on the situation. Dan, Dia, back to you.
Cannot even imagine the fear that parents were going through. Be sure to stay with ABC Action News for the latest on this school shooting. We'll have a live report coming up in our next half hour.
And at 3 o'clock, a news conference with Tallahassee Police is planned. We will carry that live right here on air and at abcactionnews.com.
Live from the station taking action for you. This is ABC Action News.
There has been a shooting in the library. Stay where you are.
Terrifying moments frozen in time. An alumnus with a gun on the loose in the FSU library.
We heard 2 shots.
Hundreds of potential victims not knowing if they would live or die.
I was scared for my life.
We're searching for answers as a community rallies to make sense of it all.
Today, we are all FSU.
Well, at this hour, the gunman is dead and 2 people are in the hospital, one of them in critical condition.
We're taking action for you tonight with complete team coverage of this tragedy, from how students are doing on campus tonight to how their family in the Bay Area are dealing with this news.
But we begin with our Carson Chambers. She's live tonight in Tallahassee, where she just spoke with investigators about this case. Carson?
And they are just releasing key pieces of information that talk about why May have done this, why he might have carried out this shooting Also, we're getting new information about the timeline, how the shooting actually unfolded. Now, lead investigators say that May actually parked his car a few blocks away from the library and walked over there. He was carrying a .380 semi-automatic handgun. His pockets were filled with ammunition. Now, police say May started shooting outside of the library, hitting 2 FSU students. Then he entered the lobby where they say he shot an FSU staff member and tried to shoot another person. Well, he never made it past that point. And then as he exited the lobby of that library, 6 police officers engaged him. 5 FSU police officers, 1 Tallahassee police officer. They say he would not drop his weapon. And that is when they shot and killed him. 30 rounds fired. That includes the suspect and police. We also know that they have seized a journal and cell phone videos where May talks about being, quote, targeted.
We've just gotten the documents and things. He referred to government targeting. It was very general in nature. Like I said, we've just conducted a preliminary review of the documents and videos, and it's going to take more time to go through them in detail to really to fill out all those kind of question marks right now.
And that was Tallahassee's police chief. They have assumed the lead on this investigation. The chief says that May was clearly in crisis during the time of the shooting. And they also tell us that he had only moved to this area, the Panhandle area, they say, about 3 weeks ago. Live updates as they come into us. For now, we're live in Tallahassee. I'm Carson Chambers. Back to you.
Carson, thank you. We're learning more about that shooter tonight. His name is Myron May. He graduated from Florida State in 2005. He then received his law degree from Texas Tech in 2009. He had been working as a lawyer in Texas and New Mexico before recently returning to Florida. Our Jacqueline Glaze just spoke with his landlord in the Panhandle, and she'll bring us his reaction to the shooting and what he knew about Myron May coming up tonight at 6.
And we just got our hands on a police incident report involving May and a woman claiming to be his ex-girlfriend of more than a year. Within that report, clues into May's state of mind in the weeks just before today's shooting. Our Ashley Glass has been poring over the pages. She joins us live now in the studio. Ashley?
And Linda, good evening to you. It's detailed here in this report. Happened just last month in Las Cruces, New Mexico. The report lays out May's alleged bizarre behavior October 7th. Police say they were called to a woman's house. A woman claiming to be May's ex of 15 months. She told police that May had just showed up unannounced at her home. He'd recently developed a severe mental disorder, was diagnosed with ADHD, and had been using prescription meds. That woman went on to tell police May had gotten really bad in recent days, had just quit his job as an attorney, and had been staying awake for days on end. The woman also said he'd made no suicidal or homicidal threats, but that he had been taken to a hospital for mental evaluation. She told authorities that May believed that police were bugging his home and placing cameras in his car. Also in this report, it states that police did attempt a welfare check on May, but that he wasn't home at that time. Past that, the officer who wrote this report stated that it was a closed matter from there on out, pending any more contact with May to check on his well-being. Linda, back to you.
Thank you, Ashley. Students tonight are still trying to make sense of why this happened. And at this very minute, survivors are rallying for a vigil on campus. Our Ashley Yore is live tonight at that vigil. And Ashley, what's the mood out there right now?
Hundreds of students are gathered out here right now. You can see they're all getting ready for this vigil about to start. I've seen students hugging one another, comforting one another, and all the students I spoke with earlier are still in disbelief that this even happened. Students still in shock after they were stuck in Strozier Library with a shooter.
I was scared for my life, and I was scared that it ends like here in my freshman year of college.
This is video Daniel Morales took on his cell phone of students sequestered. Other shaky video shows students huddled together listening to police.
If anybody has a victim, if anybody has been shot, call 911 on your cell phones. If you have not been shot or you do not know if somebody was armed, do not call 911.
Sarah Evans was around the corner from one shooting near the library's first floor entrance. She captured video of Nathan Scott shot in the leg and heard him scream.
There's a gun in the library and I've been shot. And at this point is when the library heard this and just went crazy.
One student didn't go crazy until about 3 hours after the shooting, when he found out his life was saved by a book in his backpack. Jason Durfus says online he found a bullet that pierced his bag, aimed to kill him. Now students are thinking about why this happened, and they were spared.
This is situations like this that really make it real. Every day could be your last.
Stand by. Well, students are handing out these candles this evening as part of the vigil, and we just saw the marching band make their way to the center of this vigil as things are about to get started. Coming up at 5:30, I'll tell you what students are talking about out here on this very somber evening. Reporting live in Tallahassee, I'm Ashley Yore, ABC Action News.
Ashley, thank you. And frightening images from the panicked students inside that library have been pouring in all day long, as is the case in a lot of times in stories like this. Social media gives us our first glimpses into those terrifying moments. Digital producer Jared Hill from the Now Tampa Bay joining us now with what social media has been like today with this FS shooting.
Yeah, for sure. This has been trending online all day long from the very first moments. If you look, this is what we use on the Now Tampa Bay. It's called our tweet map, where we can look and see what's trending in our area. So if you look here, you can see all of these hashtags and all of these phrases are what's trending right now on Twitter. Pray for ASU, for FSU, FS United, all of these different things trending right now in the Bay Area. So I want to show you some things that came in on Twitter as far as photographs are concerned. Starting out over here, you can see these are where people have tweeted pictures of the things that they've used to barricade the doors closed. Here, the security are addressing the students, and they're trying to show that they are safe. Here, down here, you can see people cut turf. They got out of there when they heard that this announcement was made that there was a shooting going on. And down here, you can see where everyone was huddled together in the lobby of the library. Finally, the most chilling thing we saw online this morning has gone viral. This is a text message that this man received from his daughter inside the library. There's a man with a gun in the library. I love you. I think that puts it all together. Jameson, back to you.
Jared, thank you. The heart-stopping minutes during that shooting playing out across the state today. People with loved ones on campus just waiting and hoping to hear the best. Our Chris Trankman spoke with two Bay Area families who have kids at Florida State. And Chris, this had to be a nerve-wracking situation for them.
Absolutely, Jameson. On a weeknight where 300 students were gathered to study in a place where it's normally quiet and safe, for the two parents I talked to, making contact with their kids today couldn't have come fast enough.
Man, my knees got so weak, I thought, this is not happening, you know? It just sickened me.
Irene Taylor's son is a senior at Florida State studying business. She frantically tried getting a hold of the 22-year-old after the shootings.
I'm blowing his phone up. I'm sending texts. Where are you? Are you okay?
Taylor Coates is an avid outdoorsman, but spends plenty of hours studying in the Strozier Library where the gunman opened fire. He just missed being in the building at the time of the attack. For his mom, that's the last place she ever imagined her son being in danger.
Oh my gosh, it's terrifying. You know, you just can't even, you think, okay, they're off at school and they're safe. And, you know, especially Florida State, that's a big campus, you know, they got good security there. And
for parents like Laura Randall, she was pleased to hear from her 19-year-old daughter that Florida State security sounded a campus-wide alarm just minutes after the shots were fired.
There has been a shooting in the library.
I ran in and just said that there had been a shooting and get away from the windows. So they all sort of hunkered down, and it was sort of a lack of information that scared them the most.
19-year-old Marin Olmstead is a freshman at FSU, and her mom says this incident is a harsh life lesson for her daughter.
This could happen anywhere. I think we have to teach our children to look out for things, but this is part of growing up.
And both of the parents told me their kids made the conscious decision to stay on campus, that they were not going to let this incident create a climate of fear at the school.
It was very stressed. Everybody was traumatized, crying.
Terrifying moments at a college library. A Florida State graduate going back to his old school and opening fire on students. More details of the frightening moments overnight still coming to light.
We now know the shooter, Myron May, believed the government had targeted him. Police say they have a journal and video showing May was in a state of crisis. Tallahassee police saying this afternoon May was armed with a .380 semi-automatic handgun and reloaded it at least once. In the process, he shot two students and a staff member. Police say May tried to get past security barriers before he was shot and killed by officers.
We have not found any information at this time to indicate why he chose this morning to act or why he chose the Strozier Library as the place for his actions.
May graduated from Florida State and then the law school at Texas Tech. He had been working as a lawyer in Texas and New Mexico before recently returning to Florida. Florida State students are still trying to make sense of this unprovoked attack, many of them still gathering for a vigil on campus. Our Ashley Yore is live in Tallahassee tonight with more. Ashley.
9 o'clock. And you're probably not going to like
happening right now, the president of FSU is speaking to about more than 1,000 students. Take a look at how many students are out here right now. He is talking about how FSU is a family, a community, that they're all here for one another. You can see they're all holding candles at this vigil this evening. And the amount of emotion that I have seen out here tonight, simply incredible. The first thing that the president did when he got up there this evening, thank the chief of FSU police and the crowd out here. Loud cheers. I'm continuing to listen to this entire vigil and talk to students about what they're feeling right now, how they are getting through this. Of course, we're going to keep you updated, but for now, reporting live from Tallahassee, I'm Ashley Yore, ABC Action News.
Thank you, Ashley. Today's shooting hits home for college students here in Tampa as well. Many USF students have friends at Florida State and wonder if a similar thing could happen here. Our Cameron Pullum is live tonight with more on that part of the story. Cameron?
Brendan, it's a somber day here at USF. Many thinking of their fellow classmates up 4.5 hours north of here. Many thinking and feeling in shock over what happened today, and many others contemplating whether or not the campus here at USF is as ready as it should be.
I heard a lot of it on social media.
No matter how they heard about it.
Through an app, it's called Yik Yak.
My best friend goes there, so she texted me.
Their reactions to the senseless tragedy carried out Thursday at FSU was the same.
This is just kind of disgusting how somebody could do that. It's just sad.
For USF senior Bailey Chupin, the events hit close to home. She says several friends attend FSU and were actually in the building when the first shot rang out.
Even though they weren't on the first floor, they could hear the gunshots from like the pop, pop, pop.
Those pops fired from a gun carried by a former student. Cell phone video shows frightened students huddled in classrooms. In the end, 3 people were injured. 1 remains in critical condition. Students we spoke to seem to agree there's only so much that can be prevented.
I mean, the majority of time you feel safe. I mean, it's like going anywhere. Like you walk, you go to the mall, you don't know how safe you are. You get in the car, you don't know how safe you are.
While university police have added a number of safety features around campus, like call boxes and a campus-wide texting service, they also agree with students that stopping these tragedies completely is a long shot.
We can't anticipate the thoughts or the behaviors of everybody that comes on campus. All we can do is try to create the safest environment possible, provide the resources there for our community.
He says USF is ready, but while drills and preparation go a long way, it's also up to the community to look out for each other.
You have our full support. We are rivals, but at the end of the day, we are all of the same age. We are all here for the same purpose, and my condolences for everything that happened.
Now you can see here, this is one of the more than 100 call boxes on campus. They're scattered all around campus. Students have access to texting systems, and several digital screens have been installed in high traffic buildings to alert messages for students if any kind of emergency may arise. We're at USF. I'm Cameron Pullum, ABC Action News.
Chaos on campus.
There has been a shooting in the library.
A gunman injures 3 people at Florida State.
People left their MacBooks, their backpacks, their phones, threw everything and just started running to the back of the library.
Right now at 6, how students are coping and what we're learning about the man who pulled the trigger. Good evening. I'm Brendan McLaughlin.
And I'm Wendy Ryan. Thanks for joining us. Students huddled in fear, using overturned tables as a makeshift barricade to block a second-floor door in the library. Another student, Jason Durfus, credited a backpack filled with books for blocking one of the gunman's bullets and saving his life. He says he was just feet away from the shooter, and only later did he realize how close he came to getting shot.
2 of the books that I had checked out had a bullet hole in them. I know God's looking out for me, and there's really no other explanation for it.
Jason's parents saying tonight the shooting gives them a whole new perspective on Thanksgiving and being thankful this year.
As for the gunman, he's identified as Myron May. He graduated from Florida State in 2005 and just moved back to Florida earlier this month. Authorities say his life was in a state of crisis and that he had written journals and produced videos in which he expressed fears of being targeted. Police say they do not know why he chose this particular time to act. And we're going to have more on what we're learning about the suspected shooter, including a look inside the guest house where he was staying. Coming up, first, though, we want to get to Carson Chambers. She's live on campus with the latest on the investigation in today's shooting. Carson?
Brendan, key pieces of information about this investigation coming out of the Tallahassee Police Department. It gives us a better look at why May have carried out this attack, and also a better timeline, a clearer timeline of how the shooting unfolded. Now, we do know that more than 30 rounds were fired. That includes the suspect and also the police officers that he engaged. We know that they confronted him outside of the library. Lead investigators say May parked a few blocks away, walked to the library with a .380 semi-automatic handgun, his pockets filled with ammunition. They say May started shooting outside. He hit 2 FSU students, then reloaded his gun before entering the lobby. Investigators say at that point he shot 1 FSU staff member inside and attempted to shoot another. Now, they have interviewed dozens of witnesses who saw this all unfold. He never made it past the lobby. Thank goodness he went back outside. That is where 6 police officers, 5 FSU police officers, 1 Tallahassee, confronted him. They say he would not drop his weapon, and they shot and killed him. They have served a search warrant on his car and recovered evidence that may give us a better idea of his state of mind.
Mr. May had a written journal and videos where he expressed fears of being targeted and that he wanted to bring attention to this issue of targeting. A preliminary review of these documents and videos demonstrate that Mr. May was in a state of crisis. Further detailed review will continue of these documents to establish more facts.
Okay, so that's Tallahassee's police chief talking about those journals, those videos that they recovered off of his cell phone from inside his car. We do know that those 5 FSU police officers had recently undergone some training, some active shooter training, so they were very, very quick in their response to all of this. We're going to bring you more details as they come in. For now, we're live in Tallahassee. I'm Carson Chambers. Back to you.
Thank you, Carson. And we're also learning more about the suspected gunman. Our Jacqueline Inglés gaining exclusive access tonight into the cottage he was living in right before he went to Florida State. Our Jacqueline joins us now with what she found.
I'm here in Wfts, a town that's 90 miles southwest of Tallahassee. Behind me here is the guest house Myron May was last living in. Family friends who live on this property told me they last saw him Saturday night, and on Sunday, he left for Florida State to see some friends.
I don't think anybody that knows Myron would tell you that they expected this from him.
He's an FSU grad, a lawyer, and now tonight, Tallahassee police are naming Myron May as the gunman who wounded 3 students in an overnight shooting at his alma mater, before he was shot and killed by officers on the steps of the campus library.
Disbelief, heartbreak. Just shock. We were all in shock.
Graduating in 2005, May went on to study law at Texas Tech. Before returning to the Florida Panhandle, May worked in Houston and New Mexico. Just last month, a former girlfriend filed a complaint against May with the Las Cruces Police Department. Friends say he was having financial trouble, and up until the shooting, May lived in this guest house here at the Hitchcock home of nationally renowned charity worker David Totten and his wife Abigail. He moved here just 3 weeks ago. Inside, there were still boxes, the bedroom in disarray, and a pill bottle half full of hydroxyzine, a drug commonly used to treat anxiety and nervousness.
We had no indication of it, none.
At this point, police say they're still trying to figure out why May drove 90 miles and opened fire on students. His social media accounts offering very few clues, which is full of biblical verses. May's last posting on November 18th came shortly before 8 p.m. He quoted a verse from the book of Matthew, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven."
Myron was a good boy, a good man. Something went terribly wrong, and I don't know what that was.
May does have family that lives right here in town. He also has roots in Ohio. I've reached out to his family and friends tonight, and I'm still waiting to hear back. In Wewahitchka, Jacqueline Inglés, ABC Action News.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Tonight, students at Florida State are gathering for a vigil to show their support for the victims of the shooting. Our Ashley Orr is there and joins us with a look at the mood on campus right now. Ashley.
The amount of solidarity and just the camaraderie out here this evening, simply amazing. Check out just wrapped up about 10 minutes ago, and you can see about 1,000 students out here who were just all banded together. I saw so many hugs. I saw this outpouring of support, people really trying to take a positive spin on these really frightening events that happened overnight. Now, I spoke with one student who was in the library when this all happened, and he said he didn't even take it seriously at first.
My reality was like checked in really fast when I see a group of like 10 or more people just screaming and running, terror in their eyes. And at that point, I was like, holy crap, this isn't a joke.
You can see students out here still with their arms around one another. The main message that came out of this vigil tonight, that FSU is a family, that they're here for one another and that they will move forward. And yes, students I spoke with say they'll go back to the library as early as tomorrow when it opens back up. Reporting live from Tallahassee, I'm Ashley Orr, ABC Action News.
Thank you, Ashley. There are tens of thousands of students on campus at FSU. So if you double that, you have the number of parents, many here in the Bay Area, who were worried about their children's safety. Irene Taylor of Lakeland is one of those parents. She says she called repeatedly to get through to her 22-year-old son, Travis. He frequently studies at the Strozier Library where the gunfire broke out.
I told him, I said, when I call you, you either answer or you text me back right away. And I said, you'll understand one day, you know. It's just, it's horrifying, and you just feel so trapped. And
Major just missed being at the library when the bullets were flying. The drama from today's shooting also unfolding on social media. Our Jared Hill from the Now Tampa Bay joins us now with how photos and tweets are showing exactly what happened inside that library. Jared.
That's right, Wendy. Thank you so much. We use on the Now Tampa Bay what's called the tweet map. This helps us to be able to see what's trending online at any given moment. Now, right now, we can go in and see hashtag Pray for FSU is the largest one there. Again, FSU, FS United. Even gunmen down here is trending as well. If we take a look at some of the photos that came in from Twitter online, you can see here a photo where people were barricading the doors to be able to keep the gunmen out. Up here, people were being addressed by the police. They have their hands up to make sure that the police know that they're safe. Down here, you can see people left their laptops and their drinks and everything. They cut turf. They got out of there as soon as they heard that that shooting was happening, and they escaped. All of them down congregating down at the top of the library there. Finally, this is the tweet that viral today. People saw this tweet and have been sharing it all day long. This gentleman here, David Sillick, he shared a text message from his daughter that says, "There's a man with a gun in the library. I love you." It's got to be horrifying to get a tweet like that. He said, "I was rattled by this text message from my daughter." All of this unfolding on social media. I'll throw it back over to you guys in the studio.
I can only imagine. Thank you, Jared. University of South Florida President Judy Genschaft issued a statement on behalf of the USF community, extending their deepest concern and support for the injured students at Florida State. Genschaft said, quote, "We join millions of Floridians in sending our best wishes for the students still hospitalized to make a full and speedy recovery." She also commended school officers for their response to the shooting.
Surprise deliveries. We're uncovering new details tonight about mysterious packages sent out by a gunman before opening fire on students at FSU.
Tonight, students standing united as the shooter's uncle speaks exclusively to ABC Action News.
He wasn't a monster.
Only ABC Action News is taking you inside the shooter's home, revealing new clues that could help explain what would drive him to want to kill.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Wendy Ryan.
And I'm Jamison Euler. We're getting new exclusive developments just into the newsroom from our team of reporters in Tallahassee tonight. Let's get right to it. Right now, police alerting friends of Myron May that he sent out 8 packages through the mail before shooting 3 people at the FSU campus library early this morning. Investigators are still unclear about what's inside those packages and are asking those 8 people to call them as soon as they're delivered.
And just minutes ago, police releasing this picture of one of the victims. Grad student Nathan Scott works at the library and was wounded in the leg when that shooting started. Police telling us he's one of 2 students shot at the Strozier Library who remain in the hospital at this hour. The 3rd victim was grazed in the leg and immediately released on scene. And we have live team coverage tonight. Our Jacqueline and Glace just speaking exclusively with Myron May's uncle a short time ago about his state of mind days before the shooting.
But first, we begin with Carson Chambers on the campus at FSU tonight, where students just wrapped up a vigil moments ago. Carson?
And students found comfort in a small auditorium just steps away from where we are outside the FSU library tonight. It was a vigil where they prayed for understanding.
I just pray that you would just overwhelm those just struggling right now with peace, God.
If there is such a thing as the sound of healing, it might have been the low hum of voices in an FSU auditorium. Or maybe healing doesn't make a sound at all. Prayer, quiet or spoken.
And I just want to thank you for all the lives that were spared.
It's the way some Florida State students are trying to make sense.
Even though things seem to be so bad at the moment, that you have a plan for everything.
Cope with what happened.
A lot of times in situations like this, the first question, a reasonable question, I think, is why would God allow something like this?
Tonight I heard someone pray this tragedy will lead to endurance, lead to character, lead to hope.
We want to show America that FSU will not be rattled through this, that we are all together through this, that this man's not going to tear us apart.
Perhaps it should go unsaid. Each voice, each prayer uttered here tonight is exponentially being said across the country, too.
People around the nation are praying for us and stuff like that, so it's comforting knowing that people care about what's going on here.
And more healing on the way for the FSU community when the library here reopens tomorrow morning. Live in Tallahassee, I'm Carson Chambers, ABC Action News.
Carson, thank you. Tonight, the family of the gunman, Myron May, now revealing new insight about him, saying there was no indication he was planning something so tragic. Our Jacqueline and Glace joins us live in Tallahassee with that exclusive interview tonight. Jacqueline?
Almost 24 hours ago, just beyond this crime scene tape, here on the steps of this library, Myron May took his last breaths, and tonight his uncle is opening up about the Thanksgiving plans they had. But instead of coming together for dinner next week, May's family will be coming together for a very different reason: his funeral.
He was going to get together with me and cook Thanksgiving dinner.
Preparing Thanksgiving dinner with his nephew Myron Mays is a memory Wallace Freeman won't be making. Instead, he's planning the 31-year-old's burial.
His mother's birthday was yesterday, so I know it's a heartbreaker to her.
Freeman last saw his nephew on Saturday. He spent the night before returning to this guest house family friends were letting him live in 6 miles away in Wewahitchka. He would leave the very next day to visit friends at FSU.
It's a shock because he was quiet.
May moved back to the Florida Panhandle just 3 weeks ago after living in Houston and New Mexico, where trouble found the lawyer just last month.
He saw a guy with a gun at his apartment.
Then there was this, a police report filed with the Las Cruces Police Department by his ex-girlfriend, claiming May was harassing her and recently developed a severe mental disorder, believing police were bugging his home and even putting cameras in his car. When ABC Action News gained exclusive access to May's cottage, we found this, a half-full bottle of hydroxyzine, a drug commonly used to treat anxiety and nervousness.
He wasn't a monster. He was nice, sweet young man.
His friends told us he was also having financial issues. Here he is on a camping trip earlier this month studying for the Florida bar. Now tonight, while his family is thankful May did not kill anyone, they're struggling to answer why he opened fire and wounded 3 innocent people at his alma mater.
We don't know what went down, but we're in shock because he was no kind of person like that.
May's mother is back in Ohio tonight, where he spent the majority of his childhood. He moved here to Florida at the age of 12 and was raised by his grandmother. This will be the 7th family funeral for May's family this year. Live tonight in Tallahassee, Jacqueline Inglace, ABC Action News.
Some students at Florida State University took a deep breath as they walked back inside the campus library today after 3 people were shot there yesterday. Our Carson Chambers was there as they showed the country their resilience.
Classes resume today, and the Strozier Library is pretty busy tonight, a sure sign that FSU students are moving forward together. It wasn't easy to walk back through these doors.
It's definitely got some emotions, but I think it's important to kind of move past it, and that's why I was here right when we opened.
FSU students sent the country a message today. They're not going to let the acts of a lone gunman take away their sense of security. Students relieved to see plenty of police officers in the same lobby where Myron May opened fire a little more than 24 hours ago. FSU President John Thrasher met the long line of students as they reopened the library.
I just want to let them know that we care about them and that we're behind them, and we're going to work hard to make sure that they're safe.
One painful reminder, the plywood that's still up over the front doors here where bullets tore through the glass. In Tallahassee, I'm Carson Chambers, ABC Action News.
Well, right now the FBI is looking out for packages that they believe Myron May sent to friends just hours before the shooting. The packages suggest he did not expect to survive. And as our Jacqueline Inglace reports, what's inside them remains a mystery tonight.
Tonight, the motive behind a shooting on the FSU campus may be inside a package just like this. It's one of 8 the suspected gunman, Myron May, sent to various friends around the country just hours before Thursday's early morning shooting.
What we hope is in the package is why he chose to do this.
Joe Paul is one of May's friends and among a group who received a Facebook message from May Wednesday night asking for their addresses, telling them to expect a package from him in the mail. Enclosed, a picture of what they'd be getting.
We sent him our mailing address, thinking it was maybe a wedding invitation.
Paul and the others won't likely be the ones to find out. The FBI is now intercepting those packages. So far, one's arrived in Texas. Paul should be coming to his Virginia home.
People were a little afraid. They were saying, well, I don't know if he meant to harm us or why he was sending us the package. Why did he choose us?
It's a question there may never be an answer to. Just like there may never be a definitive answer as to what drove May to open fire on innocent people, wounding 3. In Tallahassee, Jacqueline Inglace, ABC Action News.
Well, friends of Myron May say they don't want him to be remembered as a monster and recall his infectious smile. He was a lawyer in Houston. May's former boss in Houston remembers a dedicated attorney who wanted to help others.
He would work tirelessly on behalf of his clients. He was really, really passionate. I think he was having financial difficulty. He was not happy after he left Houston and went out to New Mexico. He was trying to find his way in life.
May moved from New Mexico to Wfts in the Florida Panhandle about 3 weeks ago. He was staying in a guest house of family friends.
One of the students shot on the FSU campus last week is paralyzed from the waist down. 21-year-old Ronnie Ahmed's sister revealing in a news conference that a bullet pierced her brother's spine. Now, Jacqueline Inglace was listening into that news conference and has more. Jacqueline?
Well, right now, Ronnie is looking at a very long recovery. His sister delivering the heartbreaking news just hours ago at Tallahassee Memorial Hospital. Take a listen.
One of the first bullets struck his spine, and it's left him paralyzed from the waist down.
If memories of being shot 3 times on the FSU campus aren't enough to live with, the tragedy has left Farhan Ronnie Ahmed wheelchair-bound for the rest of his life. He's only 21.
Despite his injuries, he's alive, and we're so grateful.
His older sister delivering the news during a press conference at Tallahassee Memorial Hospital. Showing very little emotion, Farhana Ahmed expressed gratitude to first responders, her brother's medical team, and the community.
We've gotten so many teddy bears and letters and calls and messages of support.
The Orlando native was among 3 wounded by gunman Myron May. According to his sister, Ahmed was shot on the steps of the Strozier Library. The biomedical engineer major was heading to study for finals. Library worker Nathan Scott was hit in the leg. Student Elijah Valdez grazed by a bullet. Both are treated and back home. As for May, police fatally shot him on the library steps.
Ronnie's always...
Ahmed did not comment on May or the circumstances of last Thursday's shooting. Instead, she spoke of her brother's accomplishments.
He cares so much about helping others.
Tonight, FSU President John Thrasher is also speaking out, saying the university is supporting the Ahmed family.
Florida State University is 100% committed to ensuring that we do everything we can to fulfill Ronnie's dream of achieving his goal of graduating from Florida State University.
There's no word tonight on when Ronnie will be heading home. He is, though, in serious condition instead of critical. His friends have also set up a site to raise funds for his long-term care. To find out how you can donate, visit our website, abcactionnews.com. Reporting live in the newsroom, Jacqueline Ingles, ABC Action News.